Ready to start, restart, or re-energize your vegan or plant-based practice? You're in the right place. I'm Michelle Olander, and this is Veg Your Best. Episode 180, Smooth Vegan Sailing. Hi, my Veg Your Besties. I have been focused and industrious here, keeping myself on course for 2024. And when I was thinking about this morning, I was expressing it to myself a little bit differently. I kept thinking that I was focused on keeping 2024 on course. And that's just funny, right? I'm going to keep this year and all the relevant people, issues, and events that might in any way impact me on course. Sounds like a pretty big ask. It sounds also like a recipe for being overwhelmed, if not actually defeated. So I think this is a mental habit a lot of us fall into. You know, the day went wrong. The week has been a waste. The quarter has been a cluster. You know, the year has not been the one I ordered when I hung up the new calendar in December. And if you heard me recently with Carly Puck on her terrific podcast called Consciously Clueless, Carly mentioned that she liked this analogy I used about sailing. You know, in sailing, you've just got to accept the wind speed. You've just got to accept the direction of the wind along with the currents or the lack of wind and currents. And in sailing, you are seldom, if ever, on any kind of direct course to your destination. You're off course a lot, if not most of the time. But you just keep adjusting. You just keep adjusting. But you can only rationally plan the adjustments you make if you actually know where it is you want to go. And if you're a sailor, that's the art, you know? That's the practice. You adjust your course and your sails to actually get where it is you're going, or at least as close as you can. And you only get good at making those choices of setting your course, the choices of how you trim your sails. You only get good at that if you do it. My dad, who was an enthusiastic sailor, if not the most skilled sailor, used to always laugh about any book he saw called How to Sail. Because you just can't learn to sail from a book. We all understand that, right? And we all understand Mother Nature, she just is. You don't try to change what just is. And 2024, it just is. Nothing I do is going to keep 2024 on course. It's not mine to control. But I think it can still be a very fruitful, positive, useful practice to keep myself on course, to keep redirecting my focus onto what I do. And that's true even when unwanted, unexpected stuff comes up, which, spoiler, it will. For me, for you, for all of us. So if you've been finding some aspect of a vegan or a plant-based practice challenging, if you've been finding it problematic or tiring, it's normal. It's normal. It's not that you need to get another book. You can't learn how to live a vegan lifestyle from a book or a video, just like you can't learn to sail from a book. Now, you can get some good information from it, but sailing is what you do in the real world, in real temperatures, in real wind, seas, and weather. It happens in a real boat that has real sails and lines and with real people who may be aboard and may or may not be enjoying themselves, and in conditions where there are other boats of all sizes out in the harbor or ocean or lake. No day on the water is the same twice. And your vegan practice, well, that's also a daily practice. Sometimes you are near markets and farms and stores and it's easy. Sometimes it's January or February and there is less produce available. And the produce that you see is not as good or more expensive. Sometimes you are in a place where people are, well, in a nice way, I guess you could say that they're less supportive about your vegan choices. Sometimes you think that the lotion you've been using is vegan because it says it's vegan, and then you find out, well, that company really isn't vegan at all. And now you've got a new choice to make. Sometimes, okay, and now we're back to me again. Sometimes, like last night, I was at a client dinner. My husband and I have clients of our media buying agency. And some of our clients, like these clients, have been our clients for almost 30 years. Now, that is kind of an amazing, gratifying, and very humbling thing. And not only have they been clients that long, they still look forward to seeing us for dinner. Well, these clients booked a fairly fancy restaurant, a table for 6, and then we called to give the restaurant a heads up that there'd be a vegan, and would they have some options prepared so it didn't distract from the whole evening. And we were told, well, I don't know, I guess we could make some of the salads without cheese, sure. And we were, okay, really? Really? That was not what I or my husband considered an appropriate answer. So we emailed the corporate headquarters, and I said in the email what the person at the front desk of the restaurant had told us, and that I wanted to double check if that were actually the point of view of the restaurant. Now, it did take a couple of days, but I received an email that, of course, there would not only be options, and that the staff would actually be delighted to have me and work with me. So this was last night, and as it turned out, they made me a lovely tomato salad, a gorgeous stir fry with lots of veggies and rice and a sorbet. Now, in the real world, I had choices I could have made when we first got that very curt, yeah, we could take the cheese off the salad type of answer. I could have just said no immediately. I could have said no to that restaurant, or I could have just not gone. I could have let everybody else go and not gone, stayed home last night. But this is my real world vegan practice. And I did have a little bit of time to reach out to the owners of the restaurant and able to ask them if this was just a mistake or poor communication from the front desk, because it meant they were basically going to lose the revenue from the whole table just because our clients didn't want to exclude me. So we talked about that in a previous episode, if you remember. That was called The Vegan Veto and the Vegan Vote, episode 165. So that we could have pulled the vegan veto. I could also just have not gone. I could have gone anyway and figured it out on the spot. There were lots of choices, actually. You can't learn it from a book. The conditions are constantly changing, and you need to respond to those conditions along with your own personal ethics and interest and energy. It all has to be navigated issue by issue. And if it feels like a lot, that's normal. I do get it. Sometimes it does feel like a lot, but it's just real life. I want you to not focus that plant-based choices and vegan choices are problematic. Everything that you care about and you do can be problematic. Your work, your art, the traffic, your coworkers, the appliances. I mean, you had annoying experiences with people and restaurants before you started this vegan journey, right? If you started a vegan or plant-based practice, sometimes you're going to have to remember why it is you wanted that. Why? Remember where you're going. Remember the course that you set for yourself, because you will be off course lots of the time. And it doesn't mean you're doing this wrong. It doesn't mean you are doing your vegan practice wrong. It doesn't mean your plant-based choices are a problem. It doesn't mean this is going to be too hard for you or that you're not up for it. It's just real life. And my guess is you're learning how to make these choices for reasons that actually do matter in your life. Now, believe me, you may have to sometimes remind yourself, but you have learned how to do way harder things than be vegan. So you will see your vegan practice. Sometimes it's not smooth sailing, but it will be smooth sailing more and more often when you don't give up on it. And when it's not, when the vegan practice is not smooth sailing, you really get the chance to up your skills. You really are having the opportunity to model something important. Model something important for other people who need to see us. They need to see normal people making vegan choices. Okay, kids, you can't learn how to do this from a book, right? Okay. One more thing, too. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so moved and grateful to all of you who took the time to vote for me as a speaker at to speak at the Women's Vegan Summit in Hollywood in May. And I'll let you know as soon as I hear from them whether I've made it or not. Either way, I am deeply, deeply grateful to all of you. And if I do make it, I'm really going to need your support because I'm going to freak out. I'm going to freak out planning my first live public presentation. But how hard can that be? I'm vegan. So until next week, veg your best. Veg Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Veg Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and veg your best.